The knock came at 4:30 on a Tuesday in October, and Madame Helena Corsac did not get up to answer it. She had not gotten up for a student in 11 years. The bell had been dead since 2015, and she had never fixed it. People who needed her wrote letters. She read them once and burned them in the small green tile stove. The letters were always the same: prodigy, genius, once in a generation. Please, Madame Corsac, please. The knock came again. 3 small, exact taps. Not a fist, not a child. Helena sat at the Steinway in the front room and continued not getting up. She had been playing the slow movement of the Brahms F minor badly, the way she had been playing badly for 11 years on purpose. The third knock was different. 3 taps and a fourth, half a beat off. A boy's hand. She heard it the way another woman might hear a baby cry through a wall, in the spine, before the brain. She went to the door. The boy was 15. School blazer, too big in the shoulders, a tie his mother had clearly tied that morning and which had loosened on the long train ride. Thin face, dark, serious mouth, the kind of eyes that did not blink as often as a normal person's. His mother stood behind him, small and dignified in a wool coat, the colour of wet stone, holding a folder of sheet music against her chest like a candle. Madame Corsac, the mother said, forgive us. I wrote 11 letters. I am Maria Ardelian. This is my son, André. He is 15. He has been refused by every teacher in this city. The conservatory says he is too strange. His last teacher says he plays as if he is angry at the piano. He plays as if he is angry at the piano because he is. We came on the train. We will sit on your steps until you tell us to go away. He has nowhere else to go. Helena looked at the boy. The boy looked back at her the way a young dog looks at a person it has decided not to be afraid of, which is to say steadily and without theatre. I do not take students, Helena said. I have not since 2014. The letters explained this. I am sorry you came so far. Play one thing, the boy said. His mother flinched. The boy did not. André, the mother said. Don't. Play one thing, the boy said again. He was looking past Helena now, at the open piano behind her, at the late light on the keys. I came on the train. You can hear one thing. Helena should have closed the door. She had closed the door on better-spoken people for less. She would tell herself afterwards it was the half-beat in the knock. Or the fact that the boy had said, times play one thing times and not times play one piece, as though he already understood that a thing was smaller and truer than a piece. She stepped back from the doorway. One thing, she said. Then you go and catch your train back, and you do not write me again. Yes? Yes, the mother said quickly, before the boy could refuse. The boy walked past Helena into the front room without taking off his shoes. He stopped at the piano and stood for a moment without touching it, the way she had stood at her first instrument when she was 9. He pulled out the Bach Chromatic Fantasy and Fugue in pencil-marked photocopy. Helena's stomach did a small, ancient thing it had not done in years. Not that, she said. Something smaller, the first thing you ever learned. The boy nodded. He sat. His feet did not quite reach the pedals. He adjusted the bench an inch without looking at her, the way a craftsman finds the right grip on a tool, and put his hands on his lap. He waited 3 seconds in silence. Then he played a piece Helena did not at first recognize. A child's piece, a folk tune from somewhere east, 4 lines of melody and a simple left-hand drone. He played it the way you would play it for a sick parent in another room at night. He played it slowly. He did not decorate it. He let the small tune walk across the Steinway on bare feet and stand still at the end. Helena, standing by the bay window with her hand on the cold radiator, found that her throat had closed. In the doorway the mother was crying without sound, the dignified silent crying of a woman who has been told no 11 times. Who taught you that? Helena said. My father, the boy said. Before he died, he played it on the accordion. I was 6. And what did your last teacher say when you played like that? He told me to play it correctly, the boy said. He said you do not whisper a folk tune. He said feeling was for advanced students. Helena closed her eyes. She had known 100 men like that in her career. She had been afraid of being one of them, which was part of why she had stopped. André, she said, play the Bach now. Not for me, for yourself. Play it the way you wanted to play it the day your teacher said no. The boy did not ask which Bach. He set the photocopy on the bench beside him and began the Chromatic Fantasy from memory. For the first 8 bars, Helena did not breathe. The boy played as if the keys were a path he was walking down carefully in the dark. The runs were even but not glassy. The chords had weight without thud. He did not show off. He did not even seem to know that he could. He was simply telling the piano what he had been wanting to tell someone for a long time, and the piano was listening for the first time in his life. By the time he got to the fugue, Helena had sat down on the piano stool by the bay window without realizing it. By the third entry of the subject, she had put her hand over her mouth. By the central modulation, she had begun, for the first time in 11 years, to weep. The boy did not see. He was looking at his hands. Helena let the tears come because the boy was playing a Bach fugue with 11 years of her stored-up grief and her stored-up silence, and giving it back to her clean. He finished. He took his hands off the keys. He sat very still. "That was not correct either," he said, looking down. "Was it?" "No," Helena said. "It was not correct. It was true." She stood up. Her knees hurt. She walked to the piano and stood behind him. "You will come here every day after school for 1 year," she said. "You alone. You will take the train. You will work for 2 hours. You will not call me Madame. You will call me Helena. You will not pay me. You will eat the dinner I cook on the days you are tired, because you are tired, and I can see it. You will not perform anywhere this year except in this room. At the end of the year you will play, in the small hall at Bensonhurst, in front of 9 people I will invite. Do you accept these conditions?" The boy's shoulders began to shake. "Yes," he said. "Yes, Helena." The mother put her hand on the doorframe to steady herself. Helena turned to her. "You did not come too far," she said. "Forgive me for the 11 letters. Sit down. I will make tea. We will write the conditions on paper because I am a woman of my generation and I do not trust spoken agreements." That was the Tuesday. By the second Tuesday, Helena understood that the boy did not know how to be praised. The first time she said "time's good," he flinched as if she had raised her hand. So she stopped saying "good." She said instead, "That phrase again half as fast," and listened to the alto voice as if you owe it money. He laughed for the first time. The laugh came out of him like something he had borrowed from another boy and had to give back. By the fourth Tuesday, she had taken the photocopy of the Chromatic Fantasy off his music rack and replaced it with 2 of her own old performance scores, the margins crowded with her young handwriting from 1979. He worked from them in pencil because he refused to use a pen in her books. She did not tell him that she had not opened those books since the night her teacher in Warsaw had told her, before her last public recital, that her playing was times correct in every way that mattered and false in every way that did not. The boy was the first person in 11 years she had let into the room where the false correctness lived. By the 7th week, she had taken the cover off the Steinway and begun, in the mornings before he arrived, to practice again. A Schubert impromptu, the A-flat. Her left hand was clumsy at first, and she did not mind. The boy never asked what she had been playing. He could tell when he sat down because the bench was still slightly warm. By December, he played her the Bach again in the small front room with snow starting against the bay window. The grief was still in it. The trying to please was not. He had let her take that out of him gently, week by week, by refusing to be impressed and refusing to be unimpressed and only ever telling him, more, less, wait, now. When he finished, she walked into the kitchen and put on the kettle and stood with her hand on the counter for a long time. In February, the conservatory wrote to her. They had heard Andrei was studying privately again. They wanted him back. They were prepared to be flexible. Helena read the letter twice, folded it in quarters, opened the green tile stove, and burned it. She did not tell the boy. She made tea. In April, the boy played his first Chopin with her, the B minor scherzo. He came wanting to play it angry because his old teacher had taught him that the scherzo was angry. She made him play it for 3 weeks before she let him play it loud. By the end, the anger had turned into the feeling underneath. I have wanted, for a very long time, for somebody to listen. The scherzo, played that way, made the windows hum. In May, the boy's mother told Helena, on the doorstep, that Andrei had begun sleeping through the night for the first time in 2 years. She said it the way one woman tells another woman a thing she will not be able to say again without crying. "Good," Helena said. "He has rest in his hands now. You can hear it." In June, Helena began to be afraid. She had told the boy 9 people. She had invited only 9. She had not told him that 2 of the 9 were a woman from the conservatory she had despised since 1992 and a man from the city's concert agency who had been writing her letters since the day she retired. She had told them both, "Come and sit at the back and do not speak to me afterward unless you are quiet about it." They had both written back, yes. She was afraid because she knew, on the morning of the recital, that the boy was about to leave her. She was not afraid for him. She was afraid for herself. That morning she made him eat oatmeal at her kitchen table. He had brought his blazer in a garment bag. The tie was the same tie. "Helena," he said, "what if I cannot do it today?" "Then you will not do it today," Helena said, "and we will go and eat ice cream, and we will try again on a Tuesday in this room with the 9 people who matter. You do not owe the world a performance. You owe yourself the truth. If today is not a truth day, we go for ice cream." He nodded and ate. They walked to Bensonhurst together. Her knees were bad on the cold pavement. He carried her music case without being asked. The small hall held 100 on a full night. There were 9 that afternoon. The mother, 5 neighbours Helena trusted, the woman from the conservatory in the back row, grey and watchful, the man from the agency beside her, hands folded over a moleskin. The 9th chair was for Helena. Andrei walked out onto the platform. He did not bow. He had not learned to bow yet. Helena had refused to teach him. He sat at the upright piano they had rented, adjusted the bench, put his hands on his lap, and waited 3 seconds in silence. Then he played the small folk tune from his father. He played it slowly, the way he had played it in Helena's front room in October. The 9 people held their breath. The woman from the conservatory put her hand on the back of the chair in front of her. The man from the agency closed his moleskin. Then he played the Schubert impromptu Helena had been practicing alone in the mornings. He had never heard her play it. He had found the score on her piano in May and asked to learn it because, he said, the title page was the only one in her library that had her younger handwriting on it. He played it as if he had carried it home from her kitchen, which, in a sense, he had. Then he played the Bach. He played the Bach the way Helena had spent 11 years not playing. He played it without asking permission and without performing. He played it the way she had played as a girl in Warsaw before her teacher had broken her, and the way she had not let herself play even in private since. The fugue rose and braided and rose. The small hall rang. When the last chord faded, the 9 people did not move. The mother had a hand over her mouth. The woman from the conservatory was crying without dignity. The man from the agency had set his moleskin aside and was looking at the boy as if he had finally seen a thing he had been wanting to see for 30 years. The boy looked over at Helena. He did not look proud. He looked the way a person looks when they have given something they did not know they were carrying. Helena stood up. Her knees hurt. She walked to the platform and held out both her hands. The boy took them. Helena bowed. Once. Deeply. In his place. Because somebody had to bow for him today. And she was the only person in the room who knew the precise old way to do it. The applause came then. 9 pairs of hands. Not enough people for a standing ovation. Something quieter and older. 9 pairs of hands, clapping for a very long time. Afterwards, outside on the pavement, the woman from the conservatory put a card into Helena's hand without looking at her and walked away. The man from the agency did the same. Andrei walked between Helena and his mother, holding both their elbows because the wind off the street was sharp. "Helena," he said, looking up. "What do we do on Tuesday?" Helena put the cards in her pocket without reading them. She would read them later. She would, perhaps, even answer them. "On Tuesday," she said, "you come at 4. We start the Beethoven, the 2nd of the Opus 14, and then I will play for you. I have been practicing alone in the mornings. It is time you heard me." The boy stopped walking. He looked at her with the unblinking eyes. "You will play for me," he said. "You." "I will play for you," Helena said, "and you will tell me what is correct and what is true, and you will not lie to spare me. That is the agreement. We add it to the paper." He nodded. He started walking again. His mother, on his other side, was crying once more, the same dignified, silent way she had cried in the doorway in October. Helena Corsack walked home between them in the cold. The cards were in her pocket. The small front room of the townhouse was waiting with the Steinway open and the bay window still bright at this hour, and in the morning, before the boy came, she would sit down and play the Schubert impromptu through, all the way to the end, for the first time in 11 years, without flinching at the second page. She had not taken a student in a long time. She had taken one now.